Okay, so this week we are reading The Goat in the Rug by Geraldine, and it's a story about a goat and its owner. Remember that our genre is narrative nonfiction, so it's telling us a story that could be true, but is not actually, the events didn't actually take place. So it's in a real setting. The events are in time order, so like first this happened, next, and then it also has facts and information. My name is Geraldine, and I live near a place called Window Rock with my Navajo friend Glen May. It's called Window Rock because it has a big round hole in it that looks like a window open to the sky. Glen May is called Glen May most of the time because it's easier to say than her Indian name, Glen Nabash. In English, that means something like female warrior, but she's really a Navajo weaver. I guess that's why one day she decided to weave me into a rug. I remember it was a warm, sunny afternoon. Glen May had spent most of the morning sharpening a large pair of scissors. I had no idea what she was going to use for them, but it didn't take long for me to find out. Before I knew what was happening, I was on the ground and Glen May was clipping off my wool in great long strands. It's called mohair, really. It doesn't hurt at all, but I admit I kicked up my heels some. I'm very ticklish for a goat. I might have looked a little naked and silly afterwards, but my, did I feel nice and cool. So I decided to stick around and see what happened next. The first thing Glen May did was chop up roots for a yakima plant. The roots made a soapy, rich lather when she mixed them with water. She washed my wool in the suds until it was clean and white. After that, a little bit of me, you might say, was hung up with the sun to dry. When my wool was dry, Glen May took out 2 large square combs with many teeth. By combing my wool between these carding combs, as they called them, she removed any bits of twigs or burrs and straightened up the fibers. She told me it helped to make a smoother yarn for spinning. Then, Glen May carefully started to spin my wool, one small bundle at a time, into yarn. I was beginning to find out it takes a long while to make a Navajo rug. Again and again, Glen May twisted and pulled the wool. Then she spun it around a long, thin stick called a spindle. As she twisted and pulled and spun, the finer and stronger and smoother the yarn began. A few days later, Glen May and I went for a walk. She said we were going to find some special plants she wanted to use to make dye. I didn't know what dye meant, but it sounded like a picnic to me. I do love plants to eat. That's what got me in trouble. While Glen May was out looking for more plants, I ate every one she had already collected in the bucket. Delicious. The next day, Glen May made me stay home while she walked miles to a store. She said the dye she could buy wasn't the same as the kind she makes from plants, but since I had made such a pig of myself, it would have to do. I was really worried that she was still angry with me when she got back. She wasn't, though, and pretty soon we had 3 big potfuls of dye boiling over a fire. Then I saw that Glen May had meant by dyeing. She dipped my white wool into one pot, and it turned pink. She dipped it in again, and it turned a darker pink. By the time she was finished dipping it and hung it to dry, it was a beautiful deep red. After that, she dyed some of my wool brown and some of it black. I couldn't help wondering if those plants I had eaten would turn me all the same colors. While I was worrying about that, Glen May started to make our rug. She took a ball of yarn and wrapped it around and around 2 poles. I lost count when she'd reached 300 wraps. I guess I was too busy thinking about what it would be like to be the only red, white, black, and brown goat at Window Rock. It wasn't long before Glen May had finished wrapping. Then she hung the pole with the yarn on a big wooden frame. It looked like a picture frame made of logs, and it's called a loom. After a whole week of getting ready to weave, Glen May started. She began weaving at the bottom of the loom. Then, one strand of yarn at a time, our rug started growing towards the top. A few strands of black, a few brown, a few of red, in and out. Back and forth until in a few days the pattern of our rug was clear to see. Our rug grew very slowly, but as every Navajo weaver before her had done for hundreds and hundreds of years, Glen May formed a design that would never be duplicated. Then, at last, the weaving was finished, but not until I'd checked it quite thoroughly, in front and in back. Did I let Glen May take our rug off the loom? There was a lot of me in that rug. I wanted it to be perfect, and it was. Since then, my wool has grown, almost long enough for Glen May and me to make another rug. I hope we do very soon, because you see, there aren't too many weavers like Glen May left around among the Navajos. And there's only one goat like me, Geraldine. This is the story of a weaver and her goat who lived in the Navajo Nation at Window Rock, Arizona. Okay, so that's the end of our book. If you are done and everyone else is not, you can go ahead and listen to this recording again, or you can get out your book and read to self.